Dwarves fans, Robin here, and I'm back again with another deck review for you, and the first deck review I've done since the banned and restricted list came in. So how will that shake things up? Well, I had considered running this deck anyway before the banned and restricted list came in. I was going to do a Chosen Axes deck. I wanted to see how they fared with the new meta. There's a few cards which perhaps help you grab some objectives, and of course now it's even better. Nightvault improved things, and I think the banned and restricted list has improved things even further. So I'm going to go with the Chosen Axes this week, which is a complete mystery to Pete. We're having a mystery match this week, and it's a best of 3 as well. Now, it had been my intention to run keys and objectives and kind of, really do a sort of, objective grabbing deck, I suppose. But it hasn't really how it worked out. The deck I created ended up sort of only being halfway there. So in the end, I pulled all most of those objective things out. Not all of them, but certainly all the keys have gone, and just going with a sort of fairly offensive deck, really, in the end. This is in part due to the fact that we were running the faction fraction rules, and I have to say, faction fraction does rather screw up if you want to play a key deck, because obviously faction fraction, by the way we play it, you have to have half of your power cards have to be of the warband you're playing. If you have 6 keys, you're immediately looking at having 6 other upgrades, and they've all got to be from the faction that you're playing, so Chosen Axes in this case. And to be honest, it just doesn't really work. So I've pulled those out. Maybe we'll revisit the faction fraction rule in light of the banned and restricted list. Maybe 2 things are a little bit too restrictive. Let us know what you think if you have an opinion on that. But you might be able to tell a bit better after the games have occurred. Moving on, what's my deck like? Well, I've got with the following objectives. A claim retaken. Now, this is possibly a risk. I don't know what Pete's going to play, but I know he likes to play sort of swarm warbands. There's a good chance he'll have jumped on an objective. I reckon I can claim one back if he does, and hopefully score a claim retaken. A grim promise. So a grim promise. Score this in an end phase if your warband took an enemy leader out of action in the preceding action phase. I think there's a good chance once I've got some inspired dwarfs on the pitch that hopefully they can take that one. Ferocious charge. Score this immediately if a friendly fighter takes an enemy fighter out of action with a charge action. Again, once I'm inspired, there's a good chance of scoring that, and it's score immediately. Scion of Grimnir is in there. Fuel is likely to take out an enemy, so that's why Scion of Grimnir is in there. Escalation. Score this in end phase if 3 or more upgrade cards were played in the preceding action phase. Yes, we all know Escalation. That is one of my restricted cards. That is in there. I think almost always will be in my deck, probably. Massive Assault. Score lots of damage in a round. The Fuel and Tef, they pack a heavy amount of damage. I've got things like Ready for Action still in there, so I'm hoping I can pull out Massive Assault. Our only way out. And Supremacy, though they are, because the Chosen Axes do like to jump on those objectives first turn, and hopefully I can score one or other of those, and if I was really, really lucky, then maybe both on the first turn. Shining Example. Shining Example for a inspired leader. A good chance of getting an inspired leader when playing the Chosen Axes. Inspiring Fuel is pretty much my raison d'etre in the first round, so that's why that's in there. Dashed Hopes, again. Dashed Hopes is a good card, I think, for this deck. It's going to be focused on killing people. Being inspired when you're using Fuel doesn't make massive difference. Okay, maybe some extra defense dice flying around, but Fuel is likely to kill some inspired people. Fired Up, still probably the easiest card in the game to score, so that's why that's in there. Another restricted card. And Singled Out, because the dwarves are quite tough, and to kill 4 is pretty tricky, so there's hopefully I can get 3 upgrades on one of them by the end of the game. And then my power cards now. Due to faction fraction and the fact that there are so many great new power cards, I've got 12 of each. Would that be overkill? I'll have to wait and see. I've not run with 12, run with 22 before, never run with 24 before, so we'll have to see how that goes. So my faction fraction ones, I've gone for Oath Sworn. Plays over a friendly fighter's attack action that fails. That fighter can make another attack action that targets the same fighter. That's in there, so basically a reroll. If you fail, that's a quite popular one in most decks. There's a version of that. Piercing Stare, choose an enemy fighter that cannot make an attack action or a charge action in the next activation. So that will stop somebody from charging, I hope. Slaying Blow. This is the deck card which basically does double damage if you roll a critical. That's a really nice card to have, and I'm going to try and power that up. Something like Potion of Rage to try and make sure that goes off. Could be really good if Pete plays some tough cards, or he gets sudden growth or something on somebody and I want to kill them. The Earth Shake's a really great card. This is very versatile for moving people around, moving people off objectives, moving people onto objectives, getting people into fight. That's why the Earth Shakes is in there. Treasure Lust. Another good maneuverability card for the chosen axes. Choose a friendly fighter and push them up to 3 hexes. They must end up holding an objective. Inspiration strikes. I've put this in here. It's good for the chosen axes. If you can't get on those objectives, then hopefully you can have inspiration strikes will hopefully help. I've also gone for regal vision alongside that because I hopefully will get on an objective and maybe I'll get moved off, but maybe I can use regal vision before I do to inspire somebody. Ready for action is in here, or should I say ready for action is in here. So that's another restricted card and it's very popular. You all know how that works, and that's in there. Spectral wings. Quite like spectral rings for the dwarf, especially if Grimnir, if you can get him up to speed, he can really move about the board there, which is quite surprising. That's why spectral wings is in there. Tantalising prize, another great card for getting on those objectives if you can't quite reach them. Determined effort, very useful for fuel, I think. He only rolls 2 hammers on his own, so with determined effort might help. Take him up to 3 dice. Haymaker, I think this is a good card for the chosen axes, especially if you can get the timing right. Particularly good if you've got a slaying blow. Then the activated runes, moving on to my upgrades. A great card for the dwarfs. And then Defiant Strike, it's one for Tefk. It enables you to hit back. You can hit back and get great strength on him. Do 2 damage, 3 swords. It's pretty handy as a bonus attack. Great Swing, this I think is for Vol. It's not a bad card. It enables you to target a couple of people. Again, you need a bit of help with it. A bit of great strength or a bit of determined effort or something to make it really, really sing. But it's not a bad upgrade. Grimnir's Fortitude, +1 defense for Fuel Grimnir. Grimnir's Speed is +2 move. Grimnir's Speed is +2 move for Fuel Grimnir, so again make him speedy. A Destiny to Meet, +1 Glory is another one of my restricted cards. Pretty useful. I think again, because I'm going to have one left, I'm going to try and score single out. A Destiny to Meet is still in my deck. Great Fortitude, great Strength. You know how they work. Fameway Crystal, another get onto an objective card for the dwarfs. Perhaps you will already be inspired by the time you can use Fameway Crystal. It's quite handy for popping around the board and popping up and hurting people. So I will be putting that in there. Potion of Rage, +2 dice again, good for fuel. Particularly good if you can tie it off with Slaying Blow, as I've already said. Slumbering Key, so these are the remnants of my objective taking survival deck things. This key is left, Slumbering Key. And finally Sudden Growth again, because that whole kind of singled out Destiny to Meet thing. So Sudden Growth is quite useful to stop those dwarfs from running around too much. Even a dwarf on the picture, so well worth putting in there. So that is my deck this week. I hope you think it's good. I've just realised I've cheated slightly because I've gone and ended up with 24 power cards. I've only put 5 of each of the specific cards, thinking that I had 10. Thinking I was going to go with 10, and I've gone with 12, and I've got 5, so really I should have one extra 1 inch in there, and I've realised that. I'm recording this after I played the game, so I'm terribly sorry, Pete. I have cheated a little bit. Hopefully that won't affect things too much, and hopefully, well, you know, if I hadn't recorded this, he'd probably never find out. So there you are. I hope you enjoyed that deck. I hope you found the video useful. Hopefully I shall win. It's a best of 3, so this deck is going to get a real test. If you want to see the whole of the best of 3, you will need to join us over on Patreon, so do check out the link below for that. But until next time, when we play with the Chosen Axes, bye!